I came home from a 12-hour shift and found my gaming PC in the trash. The room that used to be my office, my little cave of cables and code and pixels, smelled like cheap incense. My desk was gone. My chair was gone. My triple monitor setup gone. In their place, a woven rug, a low white bench, 3 plants, a salt lamp, and a framed sign on the wall that said in curly letters, "Breathe." A line, "Release." Tyra stood in the middle of it, all in yoga pants and a sports bra, like an infomercial for someone else's life. "I did us a favor," she said, smiling like she'd just surprised me with a vacation. "Now you can grow up." Something very simple clicked. I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I didn't throw things. I opened my banking app, my folder of receipts, and the mental spreadsheet I carry like a second brain. $5,000 minimum. That's what she'd released to the curb. By the end of the week, I'd sold her designer bags, hired movers, and signed a lease on a 1-bedroom that fit a better setup and a version of me that didn't need her approval. "You wanted me to grow up," I told her when I left. "I did. I outgrew you." It took a while to get there. I'm Eric, 35, back-end engineer for a fintech startup in Seattle, which means my days are spent arguing with APIs and my nights, at least the good ones, are spent unwinding in a different kind of code, games, little side projects, tinkering with things that don't have deadlines and stakeholders. I grew up the kind of kid teachers called bright but distracted. I took apart our VCR when I was 8 to see how it worked. My mother still brings that up at holidays. "You always had a screwdriver in your hand," she says, shaking her head, fond and exasperated. We didn't have much money, so my first gaming rig was a Franken PC I built out of Craigslist parts and a case my uncle pulled out of a recycling bin. It worked. Barely. It ran Diablo II and Half-Life and whatever else I could coax into life on an overheating GPU. Fast forward 20 years. The parts got nicer, the case got cleaner, the frames got higher. The feeling of logging into something that was just mine, where progress was measurable and problems had solutions, stayed the same. When I met Tara, she said she loved that about me. We met at a mutual friend's housewarming. I was in the kitchen, helping assemble IKEA stools because the host had mangled the instructions. Tara came in with a bottle of wine under one arm and a ring light tripod under the other. "Who invited the handyman?" she asked, grinning. "Who invited the content creator?" I shot back. "Guilty," she said. "I'm Tara." "Eric," I said, pushing my glasses up with the back of my wrist. My hands were full of screws. We did the small talk dance. She worked in brand experience for a wellness company, which is the modern way of saying she convinced stressed-out tech people to buy expensive yoga retreats. I told her I wrote server code for an app that helps people buy coffee faster. "So you're the reason I can order matcha from my car," she said. "Respect." "You're the reason my coworkers think they need crystals to cope with stand-ups," I said. She laughed loud, head back, hand on my arm. People like that laugh. Later on the couch, when the party had thinned and the music had gotten quieter, she asked, "So what do you do when you're not saving bar stools and optimizing caffeine?" "I play video games," I said. "Build them sometimes. I've got a home office setup that would make my 12-year-old self cry." Her eyes lit up. "You code for fun?" she asked, voluntarily. "Don't tell my manager," I said. "I like knowing there are things I could break that won't cost the company money." "That's so hot," she said. I remember that later, when she stood in the middle of my empty office and called it childish. We started dating. At first, she leaned into my world. She watched over my shoulder while I played. "It's like a movie," she'd say, eyes wide, watching some elaborate cutscene. She came with me to PAX one year, grinning at the cosplayers, posting nerd heaven with my nerd on her Instagram. I leaned into hers. I went to a couple yoga classes, terrible at it and unashamed. I listened to podcasts she recommended about breathwork and habits. I bought her fancy leggings that made her squeal. We were good together then. I'd make coffee in the morning. She'd make smoothies. I'd show her a bit of code I was proud of. She'd show me a campaign she'd helped launch. We made fun of each other's jargon and clinked glasses over our mutual ability to make a living off invisible things. When we moved in together, we picked a 2-bedroom on purpose. 1 room for sleeping, 1 room for my office. "You can have your nerd cave," she said, kissing my cheek as we signed the lease. "Just don't turn into a troll and never come out." "Deal," I said, "as long as you don't turn the living room into a permanent yoga studio." "I make no promises," she said. I spent a ridiculous amount of time and money setting up that office. Not all at once, over years. The desk was a solid wood top I'd sanded and finished myself, perched on 2 black metal legs and a storage unit full of cables and odds and ends. The chair was ergonomic enough that my physical therapist stopped giving me the side eye. 3 monitors, 1 ultra-wide in the center, 2 vertical on the sides. A custom mechanical keyboard with keycaps I'd chosen one by one, a mouse that fit my hand like it was made for it, and a PC tower under the desk that hummed quietly like a satisfied cat. Inside that tower, a top-end GPU, CPU, enough RAM to spin up dev environments and games at the same time without breaking a sweat. 2 NVMe drives, good power supply, cable management that would have made a Reddit thread applaud. On the shelves, little things that made the space mine. A framed photo of my grandpa holding a soldering iron, grinning. A couple of collector's editions still in their boxes. A plant that somehow hadn't died yet. I worked in that room. I played in that room. I breathed in that room. Tara called it the cave at first, affectionate. Then the bunker, less affectionate. Then the man cave, like she was checking a box on a sitcom bingo card. Tara's friends noticed it too. "You weren't kidding," her friend Leela said the first time they came over. She stood in the doorway, drink in hand, scanning the monitors. Full gamer dungeon. "It's like a teenager lives here," another friend, Casey, chimed in. I smiled. "Teenagers usually can't afford this GPU," I said. They laughed. Tara laughed too, but there was an edge. "He spends all his time in here," she said, faux conspiratorial. "I have to drag him out to get sunlight." "Hey," I said mildly. "I came to brunch last weekend, that counts." "Only because the server took your side on the extra bacon," she said, smirking. We all laughed. It was mostly light, mostly. The first real wobble came about a year into the marriage, during a random Tuesday dinner. I'd had a 12-hour day. Production issue, rollback hotfix, the usual dance. I got home, shoes heavy, head heavier, and after we ate I said, "I'm going to hop on for an hour, clear my head." She frowned. "You've gamed the last 3 nights," she said. "Yeah," I said. "We've had production pages the last 3 nights. This is how I shake it off. You have yoga, I have this." She stabbed at her salad. "You're almost 35, Eric," she said. "Don't you think it's a little juvenile to spend every night in there?" "Every night," I repeated. "I go in there, 3 nights a week, for a couple of hours." "It feels like more," she said. "I come home and you're in your cave. I go to bed, you're still in there. It's like we're roommates who occasionally high-five in the hallway." "We eat dinner together," I said. "We talk, we watch shows, and then I decompress. It's not like I'm in there until 3 a.m. She rolled her eyes. "Whatever," she said. "Just don't expect me to be okay with this forever. At some point we need to grow up." "What does grow up mean in this context?" I asked. "Stop doing the one hobby that keeps me sane so I can sit on the couch and scroll Instagram with you." She bristled. "It means prioritizing our relationship over screens," she said. "It means maybe using that room for something we both can enjoy instead of your little boy den." I looked at her for a long beat. "This room is also where I work," I said. "We both enjoy the paycheck." She huffed. You know that's not what I mean, she said. I'm just saying maybe it's time to consider turning it into something else. A guest room, a meditation space, a nursery even. We're not in college anymore. We don't have guests, I said. You hate overnight visitors. You told me you want to wait at least a couple of years before talking about kids, and you already do yoga in the living room. That's not the point, she said. The point is the energy. That room is heavy. It's cluttered. It's full of stuff. Expensive stuff, I said. That I use a lot, that I paid for. She sighed. We paid for it, she corrected. Marriage, remember. She wasn't wrong. Her income went into the same pot as mine, but most of the big purchases came from my bonuses. I had the receipts to prove it. We can talk about balance, I said. About schedule, about making sure we have enough face-to-face time, but the room stays, the setup stays. That's not negotiable. She crossed her arms. See, she said, you care more about your stupid computer than you do about me. That's not what I said, I replied. I said my space matters, that's different. She shook her head. You don't get it, she said, pushing back from the table. You never will. She left the dishes on the table and went to the bedroom. I did the dishes. Then I sat in my office for 20 minutes, not gaming, not coding, just staring at my monitors, feeling the tension between how small this space was in the square footage of our life and how big it suddenly felt in our marriage. We had variations of that argument a dozen times over the next year. Whenever she had a bad day, the cave became an easy target. If you spent half as much time planning date nights as you do building pretend farms. If you put the controller down once in a while, maybe we'd actually talk. No wonder you're always tired. You stay up playing with your toys. I'd counter with facts. I'm up until 11, not 3. I'm in here after we hang out, not instead of. This is also my office. It's not like I rented a separate apartment for my hobby. What I didn't do for a long time was set a line. I kept trying to jade, justify, argue, defend, explain. Classic mistake. The night that changed started, ironically, with a small act of self-protection. I put a lock on the office door. Not a big padlock, just a simple key lock on the knob, the kind you could pick with a card if you really wanted to. It was more symbolic than anything. The reason I did it wasn't even Tara, not directly. It was her friends. They came over one Friday for wine and vision boards. I was on a late call with our offshore team, headphones on, code editor open. The office door was closed. I put a little sign on it, on call, knock if house is on fire. Halfway through explaining a bug to someone in Mumbai, I heard the door open. I spun in my chair. Leela stuck her head in. We're doing TikToks in here, she shouted over my headset. This lighting is great. Casey followed, phone up, giggling. Look at his little nerd setup, she cooed. Oh my God, do you stream? I'm on a work call, I said, finger over my mic. Can you please give me 5 minutes? Sorry, Leela said, not sorry at all. She turned the ring light on anyway. My face went from normal to interrogated. Tara said we could use the space, Casey added. This room has the best vibe. Not for my coworkers right now, I said. Out, please. They retreated, half laughing, half annoyed. I finished the call, then went to find Tara in the dining room, cutting pictures out of magazines. Hey, I said, keeping my voice level. Please don't send people into my office when I'm working, or when I'm not, honestly. It's my space. She looked up. It's our house, she said. They wanted to dance. You have lights. It's not that deep. It's deep to me, I said. I had production on the line. I had to stop mid-explanation because your friends wanted content. She rolled her eyes. Oh, the world almost ended because Leela did a TikTok, she said. You're so dramatic. I'm asking for basic respect, I said. Knock, ask, that's it. She sighed. Fine, she said. Next time I'll remember your royal gaming highness. The next morning, I went to Home Depot and bought a new doorknob. She noticed when I installed it. "What are you doing?" she asked from the hallway. "Locking my office," I said, "so people knock." Her eyes narrowed. "You don't trust me," she said. "I don't trust that you understand boundaries," I said. "This isn't about secrets. It's about me having one room in this house that doesn't get rearranged on a whim." "You're overreacting," she said. "This is controlling." "Protecting my space is not controlling," I said. "It's protecting my space." "You're being ridiculous," she snapped. "It's just a room." "Then you won't miss going in," I said. She glared and stomped off. The doorknob clicked satisfyingly. For a while the lock worked, literally and metaphorically. Tara complained, but she stayed out. Her friends rolled their eyes, but they stayed in the living room. I still got the occasional jab, "Off to your vault again," but the actual incursion stopped. The gaming schedule became another negotiation point. At my therapist's suggestion, I finally got one after too many nights of listening to my own thoughts bounce around. I set actual times. 2 nights a week I'm in the office after 9, I said one Sunday, scheduling app open on my phone. "Barring emergencies, any other night I'm all yours. We can go out, watch stuff, do nothing. But those 2 nights are non-negotiable. That's my recharge." She twisted her mouth, thinking about it. "Fine," she said finally. "But I get 2 nights a week for my classes and stuff too. And if we have an event, you skip the cave, okay?" "Of course," I said. "I'm not going to miss your work thing to raid with strangers on the internet." We shook on it, literal hands, like a business deal. For a couple of months it worked. Then my company landed a new client. Big one. Legacy bank trying to move into the 21st century without imploding. It meant extra hours, extra pager duty, and one thing Tara particularly hated: travel. "You're going where?" she asked when I got the email. "San Francisco," I said. "For 3 days, meet the client, kick off the project. Back Friday night." She groaned. "I hate it when you travel," she said. "I can't sleep when you're not here." "You sleep fine," I said. "You just don't like the noises the fridge makes." "Same difference," she said. "We need this client," I said. "And it's good for my position to be the guy they see in person. It's 3 days, I'll FaceTime." She sighed. "Whatever," she said. "At least text me when you land." Before I left, I did the usual things, took the trash out, double-checked the stove, showed Tara where I'd left the spare car key, locked my office. "Seriously?" she asked, watching me twist the key. "You're going to lock it when you're gone too?" "Yup," I said. "My work laptop's in there, so is some client data I'd prefer not to get spilled on during a wine night." "You don't trust me at all," she muttered. "It's not about trust," I said. "It's about not having to think about it while I'm away. If you need anything from in there, call me. I'll Marco Polo you to the right stack of papers." She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might stick. "I'll survive without your command center for 3 days," she said. I kissed her goodbye in the Uber, luggage between us. "Love you," I said. "Love you too," she said, distracted, already on her phone. The trip itself was fine. Hotel conference rooms, whiteboards, a client who alternated between impressed and confused by our slide decks, late dinners with coworkers, nights back in the room texting Tara pictures of sad room service steak. She replied with shots of her at yoga, at brunch, at home on the couch. Standard. On the second night she texted, "The girls want to come over tomorrow for wine. You okay with that?" "As long as they don't try to break into the vault," I wrote. "You're so dramatic," she replied. "Don't worry, I'll keep them out of your toy room." I sent back a thumbs up, put my phone down, slept okay. Friday was long. Flight delayed, then bumpy. By the time my Uber turned onto our street, the sky was dark and my brain felt like overcooked pasta. I hauled my suitcase up the stairs, key in hand, ready to dump everything in the hallway and collapse. I opened the front door and stopped. The smell hit me first, not the familiar mix of our laundry detergent and whatever Tara had cooked last. This was incense, some kind of floral smoke, thick enough that I could see it hanging in the air. The living room looked normal. Couch, TV, Tara's yoga mat rolled up in the corner, a new plant in the window because of course. Down the hall where my office door used to be, there was not a door. The frame was still there, the door itself was gone, in its place, an open archway. "Tara," I called. "In here," she sang out from the office, or what used to be. I walked down the hall, duffel strap biting into my shoulder. My office had been erased. The desk gone, the chair gone, the monitors gone, the tower that used to live under the desk gone. The wall where my shelves had been was bare, freshly painted some neutral off-white. On the floor sat a cheap woven rug in muted tones, a low white bench with a cushion, 3 plants in matching pots, and a cluster of candles around a big chunk of rose quartz on a stand. The only thing that remained of my old life in that room was a faint line on the wall where the desk had pressed. Tara stood in the middle of the space in black leggings and a cream tank top, arms spread. "Ta-da," she said. "What do you think?" For a second, my brain refused to compute. "Where's my desk?" I asked. My voice sounded too calm in my own ears. "Gone," she said happily. "We sold it. Well, Leela's cousin took it. She's moving into a new place and needed furniture. It's fine, it was old anyway." "It was solid wood," I said. "I built it." "You can build another one someday if you miss it that much," she said. It didn't match the vibe. I looked around, heartbeat starting to tick louder in my ears. "Where's my PC?" I asked. Each word felt like it had its own weight. She waved a hand. "Recycled," she said. "Most of it. I had the e-waste place pick it up. It was huge and ugly, Eric. It took up so much space. You never even see the inside. It's just lights." I walked past her into the room, scanning for any sign of my towers, my monitors, my peripherals. Nothing, not even a cable. "The monitors?" I asked. "The keyboard, my work laptop?" "The laptop S in the bedroom," she said. "Relax, I'm not completely insane. I'm not trying to get you fired." "The rest?" I asked. "In the dumpster," she said, shrugging. "Or gone by now. Guys in the alley saw me taking stuff out and asked if they could have some of it. I said sure, share the wealth, right?" I walked back out to the front door, heart in my throat. The big trash bin by the curb was overfull. Cardboard boxes I recognized, GPU packaging, monitor box, old peripherals, stuck out at weird angles. On top of one pile, half buried, lay my old mechanical keyboard, keycap scratched, cable hanging like a tail. I stared at it for a second, then I took a photo. Tara appeared at my shoulder. "Don't be mad," she said nervously. "I know this is a lot, but you're always talking about wanting to be more present, less stressed. This is how we do it. We make space." "You threw away my stuff," I said, still looking at the trash. "I decluttered," she said. "Like that book says, it didn't spark joy. It sparked more time away from me." I laughed once. It didn't sound right. "That tower," I said slowly, nodding toward where the PC had been, "cost $3,000. The monitors another $1,500. The peripherals a few hundred more. You threw away over $5,000 of equipment, without asking." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please," she said. "You're always exaggerating the price of your toys." "I have the receipts," I said. "I build systems for a living. I know exactly what every part cost, and even if I didn't, it wasn't up to you." "I live here too," she said, arms crossing. "We're married. What's yours is mine. That room was sucking all the energy out of the apartment. I'm your wife, Eric, not your roommate. You disappear in there and leave me alone. I did us a favor. Now we can use this space together. Meditation, stretching, maybe a guest futon eventually." "You did yourself a favor," I said. You hated that I had a place that wasn't curated to match your Instagram. And instead of talking to me like an adult, you waited until I left town and gutted it. You're being dramatic, she said. Grow up, it's just stuff. Something in me went very still. That stuff, I said quietly, is how I decompress so I don't bring work stress home to you. It's how I keep my skills sharp so I keep my job. It's also, very literally, my property. The money for it came out of my bonuses. The setup is part of what lets me do my job well. You didn't just throw away games. You threw away my tools. You can work on the laptop, she said. Most people do. Most people don't write back-end systems that need local environments and test clusters, I said. You don't have to understand the details. You do need to respect that they matter. She tossed her hair. Well, I don't, she said. I respect live people more than screens. I'm tired of competing with pixels for your attention. This way you have no excuse. You have to engage with me, with us. I looked at her then, really looked. Happy, triumphant, like she'd won. Choices have invoices. That thought floated up, something my dad used to say when I was a kid and faked losing a library book. This was the line, I said softly. What? She asked. This, I repeated, gesturing to the room, the trash bin, the space where my office used to be. This was the line, you crossed it. She scoffed. So what are you going to do? She asked. Divorce me over a computer. Tell your friends your evil wife made you touch grass. I didn't answer, not right then. I pulled my phone out, took another few photos, the empty room, the trash, the pile of boxes, opened my notes app and started a list. GPU, $3,090 to 100 ordered during chip shortage, have invoice and email. CPU, motherboard, RAM bundle, $800. Monitors, $400. Keyboard, mouse, peripherals, $600. MISC storage, cables, etc., $300. Rough total, $5,200. I added, labor rebuilding, reinstalling environments, lost productivity, priceless, then deleted that part. A judge wouldn't care, I would. Can you stop with the calculator? Tara said. You're ruining the vibe, come sit. I bought us matching meditation cushions. I'm not sitting, I said. I'm documenting. For what? She asked, frowning. For the settlement, I said. She laughed. You're not serious, she said. You're going to take me to court over your PlayStation. It wasn't a PlayStation, I said. It was a custom rig I've spent years building up. But this isn't about hardware, it's about respect, or lack of. She shook her head, dismissive. You're overreacting, she said. You can buy new toys. You can't buy back time with me. You should be thanking me for forcing you to see that. I looked at her, at the candles, at the sign on the wall telling me to breathe. I'm going to shower, I said. I've been on airplanes all day, we'll talk later. I already told everyone, she called after me as I walked down the hall. My friends are coming over tomorrow to see the new space. Don't embarrass me by being weird about it. In the shower, hot water pounding my neck, I made 3 calls. First, to my friend Nate. He picked up on the second ring. Yo, he said, you back? Yeah, I said. Question. If Lena threw away your guitar collection while you were out of town and turned your studio into a Pilates room, what would you do? He went quiet for a second. Hypothetically, he asked, or did Tara finally snap? She gutted my office, I said. PC, monitors, everything, trash, meditation room now. He swore loudly. Then you okay? I'm clear, I said. Not okay, clear. You want me to come help dig in the dumpster? He asked. I think it's gone, I said. Pickup was this morning. I'll check in a minute. I just need a sanity check. Am I overreacting for seeing this as relationship ending? Dude, he said. If Lena tossed my amps, we'd have a problem. If she did it while I was gone, we'd have a lawyer problem. This isn't a we need to communicate better issue. This is a fundamental disrespect issue. That's how it feels, I said. Then it is, he said. You're not crazy, you're calm, which is scarier. I'm tired, I said. I work a lot. That room was the one space that was mine. She's been chipping away at it for years. This was the hammer. Do what you need to do, he said. If you need a place to stash stuff while you move or whatever, my garage is yours. Appreciate it, I said. Second call, a lawyer. I'd never needed one before beyond signing my employment contracts. But a while back, after my cousin's ugly divorce, I'd taken down the name of the attorney he said he wished he'd hired first. Her name was Melissa, mid-40s, smart, no nonsense. I left a message, half expecting to wait days. She called back an hour later. Eric, this is Melissa Clark, she said. You left a message about a situation with your spouse. Yeah, I said. Short version. My wife destroyed about $5,000 of my computer equipment without my consent while I was out of town, redecorated my office, and told me she was doing me a favor. It's not the first disrespect. It's just the loudest. Do you have receipts for the equipment? She asked. Most of them, I said. Email invoices, bank statements. I took photos of the empty room and the trash. Good, she said. If you decide to file, that will matter. At minimum, it shows a pattern of unilateral financial decisions. But let's zoom out. Is this the only issue? No, I said. It's the straw, the hay bale, whatever. She mocks my work and hobbies, lets her friends treat my space like a joke, calls me childish for gaming, and calls it growing up when she takes things I care about away. This isn't a fight. It's a mismatch of values. Do you want out? She asked direct. I thought about it. About the early days, her laugh, the way she'd looked at my rig and said it was hot. About now, her standing in my office like she'd claimed new land. Yes, I said, I think I do. Then here's what you're going to do, she said. You're going to go open a new bank account in your name only, tomorrow. You're going to move your direct deposit there. You're not going to drain your joint accounts, that looks bad, but you are going to make sure she can't run up new debt in your name. You're going to inventory your major assets, and you're not going to touch or destroy any of her property. I thought of her closet full of designer bags, shoes, coats, gifts over the years, some from me, some from her parents, some from her deals. I'm not planning to, I said. I'm angry, I'm not stupid. Good, she said, because selling or damaging her belongings in retaliation gives her leverage and you headaches. If you want to recoup the cost of your equipment, we do that in the settlement, not on Craigslist. I'm not going to lie. The idea of listing her $1,800 tote bags as slightly used, priced to move, had a petty appeal. Understood, I said. We'll schedule a consultation for Monday, she said. In the meantime, keep your head. Don't threaten divorce during a fight. Don't move out without a plan. Document, don't detonate. Document, don't detonate, I repeated. Got it. Third call, my bank. By the time I came back out of the bedroom, Tara was sitting cross-legged on the floor in the ex-office, eyes closed, headphones on, breathing theatrically. I didn't interrupt. I got my work laptop, sat at the kitchen table, and pulled up our shared budgeting spreadsheet. I added a new tab, Losses. Listed my PC parts with dates and amounts, attached the receipts from my email, totaled it at the bottom. $5,237 before tax. Then I opened another tab, High-value items purchased for Tara, Eric funded. Designer bag, Christmas 2 years ago, $1,500. Another bag, birthday last year, $1,200. Limited edition sneakers she never wears, $400. Coats, jewelry, gifts, total hovering around $4,000. I stared at the numbers, not to fan my anger, to see clearly what was at stake. I slept on the couch that night, not as a punishment, as distance. In the morning, Tara padded out, hair messy, rubbing her eyes. "You're being ridiculous," she said when she saw me curled on the cushions. "Come back to bed." "I'm good here," I said. She frowned. "Are you really going to sulk over a computer?" she asked. "I'm not sulking," I said. "I'm recalibrating." "Same thing," she said. "I have a class in an hour. Can we not ruin my Saturday?" "I won't ruin your Saturday," I said. "You already did." Her jaw tightened. "Wow," she said. "We're really leaning into victim mode, huh?" "I'm not a victim," I said. "I'm the man who pays most of the bills in this house and just had thousands of dollars of his property unilaterally tossed. I'm acting accordingly." "What does that mean?" she asked warily. "It means I'm adjusting my investments," I said. "Of time, energy, money." She laughed. "What, you're going to stop paying my phone bill?" she said. "For starters, yes," I said. "Also the extra streaming services you signed up for without telling me, and a few other things. We'll discuss it like adults, after you get back from class if you want to." She narrowed her eyes. "Are you threatening me?" she asked. "No," I said. "I'm setting boundaries." "I don't like this version of you," she said. "Me either," I said. "But he shows up when you push past every softer version." She left in a huff, slamming the door. While she was at class, I took a walk, around the block, around my life. On the corner, our neighbor, Mrs. Patel, was pruning her roses. "Long trip?" she asked, seeing my suitcase by the front door. "Long enough," I said. She nodded at the trash bin. "Those boys were very excited about the electronics the other day," she said. "Said they'd hit the jackpot. I told them not to electrocute themselves." I smiled thin. "Yeah," I said, "quite the jackpot." "Everything okay?" she asked, peering at me over her glasses. "Not really," I said, "but it will be." Back home, I opened Tara's closet, stood there for a long moment. Melissa's voice, "Don't touch or destroy." "Fine." I didn't have to sell her bags to outgrow her. I just had to stop financing the version of her that thought she could break things and call it growth. When Tara came back, flushed from class, mat over her shoulder, I was at the table with a stack of printed statements. "We need to talk," I said. "Finally," she said, dropping the mat. "Can we please get past this now? I'm tired of the sulking energy." "I'm not past it," I said. "I'm through it." She frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means I opened a new bank account this morning," I said. "My paycheck will go there from now on. I'm going to keep paying my share of the rent and utilities until this is sorted. Any discretionary spending you do from here out is on your card, not ours." Her eyes widened. "You can't just—" "I can," I said. "I did." She slapped her palm on the table. "You're punishing me," she said. "Wrong word," I said. "I'm protecting myself." "From what?" she demanded. "From someone who thinks my things don't count because she doesn't value them," I said. "From someone who makes unilateral $5,000 decisions and calls it a favor." "You're making it sound so extreme," she said. "It's not like I totaled your car." "If you keyed my car and said you were helping me detach from materialism, we'd be having the same conversation," I said. She folded her arms. "So what, you want me to pay you back?" she asked. "Is that it? You want me to cut you a check for your little machine?" "Yes," I said, "actually." She laughed. "That's ridiculous," she said. "Is it?" I asked. "You threw away joint property. You can either help replace it, or you can accept that I'm going to reflect that loss somewhere else in our shared finances." Her eyes slid, just for a second, toward her closet door. "You wouldn't," she said. "I wouldn't sell your things behind your back," I said, "but I will stop buying new ones. I will stop feeling obligated to spend on gifts when you treat mine like trash. Choices have invoices, Tara. This is one of them." She sank into a chair, face hardening. "You're really going to choose your games over me," she said. "I'm choosing respect over disrespect," I said. "You just happen to be on the wrong side of that equation right now." We went in circles for another 20 minutes. She cried, she accused, she minimized. It's just stuff. You're blowing this out of proportion. You've been talking about simplifying anyway. I was trying to help you. By the end of it, something in me had snapped so cleanly it almost felt like relief. I'm done, I said finally. With what? She asked, eyes red. With this, I said. With defending my right to have a hobby. With defending my right to have a room. With defending my right to not have my things thrown away like I'm a teenager and you're my mom on a cleaning spree. You're leaving me, she said, stunned, over this. I'm leaving you because this is who you are, I said. Because you've shown me, over and over, that you don't respect things that matter to me unless they also matter to you. Because I can't trust you not to cross lines when I'm not looking. She stared at me, breathing hard. You won't, she said. You have nowhere to go. I have options, I said. Friends, savings, a decent salary, a lawyer. You're not my warden, Tara, you're my wife. Or you were. You can't just walk out, she said. I won't just walk out, I said. I'll do it properly. I'll file, I'll move. I'll split things fairly. But I'll also remember that the last time I trusted you to watch my back, you emptied my office while I was gone. You're heartless, she whispered. No, I said, I match temperature. The next week was logistics. I met with Melissa in person. We went through assets, debts, the lease, the shared accounts. You don't own the place, she reminded me. You're renters, that makes the split cleaner. No real property to haggle over. Small mercies, I said. How do you want to handle the furniture? She asked. She can have almost all of it, I said. Couch, bed, table. I'll take my clothes, books, kitchen stuff I bought, and whatever is left of my gear. It's mostly gone anyway. That's generous, she said. Any particular reason? I want a clean exit, I said. I don't want to argue over a coffee table. Good, she said. Judges like reasonable. We drafted the petition. Irreconcilable differences. No kids, no house, just a long list of receipts. I found a one-bedroom a few neighborhoods over. Top floor of a small building, big windows, one extra room marketed as a den. As soon as I saw it, I pictured a new desk in there. New tower. New monitors. This time with a lock on the outside of the actual apartment door. I signed the lease. Scheduled movers for a Saturday. Tara would be at a wellness retreat. When I told her I'd filed, she reacted like I'd punched her. You're really doing this, she said, sitting on the edge of the couch, papers in her lap. Yes, I said, we're done. Over a hobby, she said. Over respect, I corrected, or lack of. You're going to tell everyone it was because I threw away some old electronics, she said, bitter. I'm going to tell everyone the truth, I said. You can frame it however you want. People who know me will know the pattern. People who don't, well, their opinions don't fix anything. She shredded tissues in her hands. What if I buy you a new one? She asked suddenly. The computer, I'll pay, I'll replace it, we can start over. I'll never go in that room again. It's too late, I said, and you can't buy back trust, or the version of me that believed you wouldn't do something like this. You're throwing away our marriage, she said. You threw away my things, I said. Now I'm throwing away the paper that says I have to pretend we're on the same team. She cried hard then, ugly, hiccuping sobs. One part of me wanted to comfort her out of sheer habit. The rest of me remembered the text, grow up. It's just stuff. This isn't about revenge, I said quietly. It's about alignment. You want a partner who meditates in minimalist rooms and doesn't care about gadgets. I want a partner who doesn't toss mine in a dumpster. That's not you. That's okay. But it's also okay for me to stop trying to be your version of grown up. You'll regret this, she said between sobs. Maybe, I thought, but not as much as I'd regret staying. I moved the next weekend. Nate showed up with his truck. The movers took the boxes I'd carefully labeled. My few remaining tech bits, my books, my clothes, some kitchen stuff. I left the couch, the bed, most of the appliances. Tara watched from the doorway, arms wrapped around herself. "You're really going," she said when I picked up the last box. "I really am," I said. She looked past me into the empty hallway. "What am I supposed to do?" she asked, small. "Whatever you want," I said. "That's the point, you clearly do anyway." "At least say goodbye," she said. I paused. "Goodbye, Tara," I said. At my new place, the first thing I set up wasn't the bed. It was the desk. I'd ordered a simpler one this time, still solid, still mine. The new PC parts arrived in 2 big boxes. Nate helped me assemble the tower in a couple of hours, beers sweating on the window ledge. "You sure you want to drop this much on a new rig right now?" he asked as we slid the GPU into place. "Yes," I said, "but it's not just for games this time. I'm using this for freelance work too. That retainer for Melissa wasn't cheap." He whistled. "Smart," he said. "Turn spite into side hustle." "It's not spite," I said. "It's insurance." We booted it up. The fan spun, the lights blinked once, then settled into a quiet glow. It felt like coming home, to myself, not to a space. The bachelor pad jokes were inevitable. People pictured me sitting alone in the dark surrounded by screens, shotgunning energy drinks. The reality was quieter. Yes, I gamed. Some nights, deep into a campaign or a run. Some nights I spun up little side projects, a tool to scrape anime ratings, a bot to automate some boring part of my job. Some nights I closed the door, lay on the floor and stared at the ceiling, letting my nervous system realize it wasn't on constant alert anymore. I cooked more, real food, not just takeout. I had friends over to watch movies, to play co-op games, to eat too much pizza. I went to the gym more regularly, less because I had something to prove and more because endorphins beat talking to HR about burnout. I also dated, carefully. On my 3rd date with someone named Mia, a graphic designer with a soft laugh and a sharper sense of humor, she asked, "So what do you do for fun?" "I game," I said. "I code stuff for no reason. I lose hours to stupid projects. I have a room full of blinking lights, full disclosure." She grinned. "You say that like it's a confession," she said. "My ex called it childish," I said. "She threw my rig out while I was on a trip." Mia's eyes widened. "She what?" she asked. "Whole setup," I said. "Trash, meditation room upgrade, long story." "And you divorced her, right?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Good," she said. "I design brand campaigns for a living. If someone threw away my tablet and hard drives without asking, they'd be lucky if all I did was leave." I liked Mia before that. I liked her more after. Tara, from what I heard through mutual acquaintances and the inevitable social media bleed, tried to spin our divorce. He chose video games over his marriage. He couldn't handle being an adult. He cared more about his toys than about us. But stories have witnesses. Our neighbor told my mom, who told my cousins, who told their group chats, that Tara had emptied that poor boy's office like she was on a TV show, while I was away. Leela and Casey, who had been there for the reveal, tried to defend her at first. "He was obsessed. It was unhealthy," they said at some brunch. But then someone asked, "Would you be okay if your boyfriend threw away your makeup collection because he decided it was childish?" And the tone shifted. The consensus landed where it usually does when one person destroys something expensive and meaningful without consent, on her side of the ledger. I didn't gloat, I didn't post, I didn't send told you so texts. I didn't need to paint her as the villain. She did that herself. About a year after I moved out, I ran into her at a coffee shop near my old neighborhood. I was there on a Saturday morning, laptop open, working on a side project. Hoodie jeans, one earbud in. I didn't see her until she was already at the counter. "Eric," she said, surprised. I looked up, she looked the same. Different hair, new bag, same posture. Tara, I said, hey. We did the awkward small talk thing. How work, how's your mom? Weather, sports, neutral topics. She glanced at my laptop. Still at it, huh? She asked. Still coding, I said. Still gaming. Took a break from letting people throw my machines out, though. She winced. You're never going to let me live that down, are you? She asked. I don't think about it much, I lied politely, except when people ask why I'm divorced. She sighed. I was going through a lot, she said. Doesn't excuse it, I know, but I've done a lot of work since then. Good, I said, for your next partner's sake. She studied me. You seem good, she said, happy. I am, I said, simpler life, more honest one. She hesitated. Do you ever miss us? She asked. I thought about it. About that first night at the housewarming, about Pax, about her calling my rig hot, about the dozen small cuts after. I miss who I thought we were, I said, not who we actually were. She nodded like she'd expected that answer. I'm dating someone, she blurted. He's different from you. I hope so, I said. He doesn't even own a computer, she said, half laughing. Then you're safe, I said. Nothing to throw away. She made a face. That's not fair, she said. It's accurate, I said. We said goodbye, she left. I went back to my code. Sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet except for the low hum of my tower and whatever soundtrack I've put on, I think about the word she used like an insult. Childish. She said gaming was childish. Coding was childish. Having a room dedicated to something that brought me joy was childish. If childish means having a hobby that doesn't hurt anyone, that keeps me from imploding under the weight of Jira tickets and Slack notifications, that gives me a sense of mastery and calm, then I'll take childish. What I outgrew wasn't my games. I outgrew apologizing for having things that matter to me. I outgrew trying to convince someone that respect is not a luxury extra you bolt onto a marriage if there's room in the budget. I outgrew being with a woman who thought she could bully me into her version of grown up by throwing away my joy. My new place has a hobby room. Call it an office, a cave, whatever you want. It's got a door that locks, not because I'm hiding things, but because I've learned you can't assume people will honor spaces just because you do. On the wall above my monitors, there's a small framed print. White background, black text. Grow up, it says. Outgrow what hurts you. Every time I look at it, I remember coming home to an empty room and a sign that told me to breathe. A line. Release. So I did. I breathed. I aligned with what I knew was right for me. And I released the idea that I had to stay with someone who couldn't tell the difference between clutter and the core of who I am.